Well, let's talk more about Vladimir Putin and the threat to the world seriously, because in war, you write about the challenges facing the Biden administration before and after Russia's invasion. And among them was keeping Russia from actually using a tactical nuclear weapon against Ukraine. How close did Russia come to doing such a thing?
Well, it started out intelligence kind of, oh, well, maybe there's a 5 or 10%. It got down to 50%. And in the White House, they are sitting there looking at this and they realize, the national security officials for President Biden, this is a coin flip. And uh, one of the officials, key people in the Biden White House, is saying, my God, this is what it must have been like in 1962 during the Cuban Missile Crisis, living on the edge. This is really a serious, serious threat. And Biden and people, there are scenes in the book. This is a very long scene, and I'm not going to read it, though I'm tempted to read it. That, and again, this is the planning that Trump never does in the national security team in the White House. They plan and they have this intelligence that uh, the threat of a tactical nuclear weapon is coming.
Bob, read it. You don't have to read everything, but I'm sure folks who are watching would love to hear you read from the book on this.
Okay, so what happens is Lloyd Austin, the defense secretary, somebody not well known. I tell you, we learned so much about him in this book. So Austin calls up the his equivalent in Russia, the defense secretary Shogu, and says, just write out, we know you are contemplating the use of tactical nuclear weapons in Ukraine. And he laid out the consequences, and the consequences are actually quite brilliant about saying, look, this isn't just going to be the use of one tactical nuclear weapon. It's been 80 years since nuclear weapons have been used. And he's trying to say, don't do it. And it's a very, I would love to read it all, but if you see it in the book, so here's what happened. So he's laying this out in a very direct way. And Chogu, the defense minister of Russia, says to Austin, I don't take kindly to being threatened. Austin, one of the most powerful lines I've seen in 52 years of journalism. Austin says to his counterpart in Russia, Mr. Minister, I am the leader of the most powerful military in the history of the world. I don't make threats.
You
That's
know, it's
real. This is the real life under the scenes, in behind the scenes, and you see this kind of uh, real struggle to keep from the world from spinning out of control. Because should should Putin order the use of tactical nuclear weapons, the world changes. In the
Mhm.
Biden administration, they obviously don't want to have it happen on their watch, but they realize if it does happen, they define an era. And for 80 years, no nuclear weapons have been used. And here's Putin, who is not only sadistic, but uh, totally in charge, threatens this. And so they examine, quite rightly, the conditions. Now, wait a minute, why would he use tactical nuclear weapons? And they get into, there are many uh, explicit scenes about the worry in Russia, they have a doctrine that they can use tactical nuclear weapons if they face or experience what they call catastrophic battlefield loss. Other words, there are scenes in Ukraine where the Russians are really threatened with catastrophic
Mm.
battlefield loss, and under their doctrine, use tactical nuclear weapons. And this is what Biden's trying to talk them out of. And thank God that catastrophic situation eased. And there are scenes where American generals are talking to the Russian generals, kind of saying, okay, now you don't have to use tactical nuclear weapons. They want to prevent this, but also it's kind of this realization that comes with every presidency that I've tried to understand
Mhm.
and write about, and that is that we're bringing not just our actions, but we will define an era. And if that era uh, includes the use of tactical nuclear weapons, we're in a new world.